Okay, let's try this again. Okay, I see the lights moving, so I believe it's working now. Sorry about that. Give me a second. All right, so what happened was I tried to come live, and for some reason, this thing was not giving you any sound. I am testing it now to see if it does have sound. Let me try again. Where is my channel? Okay. Yep, I can hear it now. Okay. I can definitely hear it now. Alrighty. So sorry about that. Let me share it again. Hi, the thrills of being online. Delete this one. This is what happens when you try to do things quick and they don't always work out. But you know what? Growing pains, growing pains, growing pains. Feels very old school. I don't know if you remember this, but back in the old days, this would happen so often, it wasn't even funny. But welcome, bienvenidos. This is Roxana from Metamorphosis Rocks. And like I was trying to explain the last time, but you all couldn't hear me, what I'm doing right now is rather simple. What I'm doing is I'm too tired, and this was on the original info box, but it's not on the new one because I decided to just try to get up as soon as possible. What happened was, yes, I did. What had happened was I normally would make a video or two or three and then edit them and go to sleep. I don't feel like doing that tonight. I just want to say my piece and get out. And so this is going to be a live stream, but it's going to feel like a video because I'm just going to go through my three parts, tell you what I need to tell you, and then get out. So for the first couple of minutes, maybe a little longer, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of the booty drama community. On the next 2 or 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you what has happened right now between these two people. And then in the middle, I'm probably going to give you a little bit of my feelings, but at the end, I'm going to tell you what I think about the whole thing. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that's going to be talking about this because, ironically, although the booty drama community no longer exists per se, certain people have moved on to other things. There is always a fascination with certain creators, and Peter Monn and Rich Lux are two creators who have gotten a lot of love and hate throughout the years. What are you talking about? I literally saw me. What are you talking about? I'm not understanding what you're saying. Hold on. Okay, I went to the live myself, so I know I'm live. Hold on. Yeah, I am live. Oh, it says subscribers only mode. Great. Oh, wait, no. You have to be subscribed for a minute to be able to. I don't know. Just hopefully you can join. Anyway, the bottom line is this. So there you go. There you are. Hi, Molly. Welcome back. All right. So let's do a little history first of all. Let's go back a couple of years ago. Now, I don't know if y'all remember how much you remember of the booty drama community, but there was I always call it the first wave of content creators that were talking about beauty content creators, and that was, I don't know, I'm gonna say the people that I first saw. There was Karina Kaboom, Rich Lux, John Cookian, Peter. I can't remember the name, but he left, so maybe I shouldn't even mention him. And Sam here for the tea. And then a little bit later came Dustin Daly. There was a lot of people that came later. Dustin Daly, Nick, Snyder, Nosy Hausfrau. There was a lot of people that came in the second wave. And Patty Page was in between the first wave and the second wave, okay? But the bottom line is, to me, all those people that I just mentioned were the first big wave because they were the people that got me interested in this whole beauty community. Now, I had this conversation several times with people that didn't like drama videos, but didn't miss one. And all I kept saying was, it doesn't matter if you like it or if you don't like it, because the bottom line is that those people are creating the audience for the beauty community. And people would tell me, no, 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 no. But if you actually paid attention to the videos that these people posted, these people would get millions of views. They would have maybe 100,000 subscribers, but they would generate millions of views of people that would eventually go to the beauty community to watch these content creators that these people were talking so much about. And so back then, it was, to be honest with you, was silly drama. The most baffling thing, or the most hurtful thing, or the one thing that was not as mindless, was the discrimination in certain areas. But other than that, all these people, the scandal of the day was that one time that Patrick Starr rolled his eyes at a meet and greet, or somebody putting on makeup and maybe not doing the best job possible, and there was all kinds of mindless, silly drama. Nobody showed up at this person's meet and greet, or they had a meet and greet with a couple of collaborations and one of them didn't show up. But it was silly. It was just silly. Then came the era where things started getting a little bit more serious, I guess. You had of course, lipstick drama. And people say, well, the lipstick drama was silly. No, it wasn't. There were people that were impacted by that drama because they got hurt, they got allergic reactions and all this other stuff. And before we keep going with that part, let me be very clear. I am very aware that you can wear makeup today and wear the same makeup tomorrow and have an allergic reaction to it. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about lipsticks that were created in a factory that was actually hit with several penalties for not being clean and not being very well kept. So that was kind of when it started getting serious. Then came the James Charles, very serious situation. And after that, it's funny because people talk about Dramageddon 1 and Dramageddon 2. And for those of you who don't know, 4 people took a picture, which was silly, to be honest with you. But that was Dramageddon 1. And then came Dramageddon 2, which was the James Charles situation with Tati and everything else. Bottom line is this. During this whole time, there were the standards that the drama community was held to in terms of saying and doing and holding people accountable was ridiculous. But the one thing that I always thought was funny is that you could always tell the difference between one generation and the other. Because as we all know, most of the people that I just mentioned are, except for maybe Karina Kaboom, Peter, and I think those would be, Nosy. Everybody else was millennial. I never understood what the big deal of Dramageddon was. Dramageddon was well, here's the thing. For one thing, why are you trashing somebody that isn't there to get hit with it? But I thought it was interesting. The thing of Dramageddon 1 that was interesting to me was the fact that the person that got the short end of the stick in this entire situation was Laura Lee. Do I find it interesting that a woman is the one that ended up paying for everybody else? No, I don't. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, I'm aware that there were 2 women there, a cis woman and a trans woman. But at the time, asking for accountability from the trans woman in question was viewed as being anti-trans, which I always thought was stupid. because it would be like saying that I cannot call out a Puerto Rican. That would make me anti-Puerto Rican because I'm calling out a Puerto Rican for doing something wrong. That's not how it works. Mind you, I have gotten that kind of hate my entire time on YouTube, where people will call me out for not calling X, Y, or C out. And if I call this person out, well, you're being racist. Or if I'm calling this other person out, I'm being anti-trans. When the reality is that I don't care if I like you or I hate you. If you did something wrong, I'm going to call you out. It's called accountability for a reason. If you don't like it, that's not being canceled. That is accountability. There's a difference. It would be canceled if people were making stories about you, like happened to Peter Monn, who was accused of doing horrible things, and none of them were true. But to this day, and I'm telling you, and we'll get to that in a minute, because I saw that with my own eyes, people still bringing up this story about Peter being kind of not a groomer, but well, yeah, a groomer in a sense. So now that I have you in the past, let's bring you to the present. After years of the booty drama community being around, eventually it fizzled out because the beauty community kind of fizzled out. I don't know. I can't tell you if it was because thanks to the pandemic, people were not wearing as much makeup, or because people couldn't afford to buy as expensive makeup, or because people just got tired of it. But a big chunk of the audience moved on. Ironically, one of the markets or one of the communities that got a lot of that group of people was the fragrance community. And I'm sorry, but perfumes are more expensive than makeup. Then again, if you really think about it, fragrance is more inclusive than makeup, because even though makeup is for everybody and men started wearing makeup way before women did, the reality is that a man wearing makeup is still not accepted in many communities, but men wear cologne pretty much everywhere, and so do women. So it's a more inclusive community in that sense. But and I just think it's funny, and I guess it's because you can't wear makeup but you can still wear perfume, which is stupid, because if you're wearing a mask you're not going to smell it as well as if you don't have the mask on. But that's another story for another day. A lot of people move to the true crime community, and some of the drama, the booty drama channels, the ones with better research and other communication skills, decided to go the route of looking at that. Others stayed in the entertainment industry but went mainstream entertainment, and they have done really good job, and a lot of them have flourished in the market. Then comes the story of Peter and Rich. Now, if you are not aware, Peter Monn has been on Twitter, on YouTube for a very long time, and the reason why I'm looking down is because I'm trying to find his main screen so I can say how long he's been here. Yes, I'm looking at my videos that I just watched so I can hold. No, Peter, I can't talk. 233,000 subscribers. Okay. Now Peter has 6 or 7 channels, so this is just the Peter Monn channel, which is the drama commentary channel. Then you have Rich. Rich has 497,000. He has 500,000 subscribers, basically. Rich, however, is all about drama still to this day. He has stayed in his lane and he hasn't moved from it. Now, I mentioned before, but at this point I can't remember if it was when I didn't have sound or now, that two of the most controversial figures in the booty drama community were Rich and Peter. Rich, because people just associate him with the clown makeup and just think of him as a lowbrow drama channel. And Peter, because number one, a lot of people still believe the accusations that John Cookin leveled against him, but also because people don't like it when you actually have a brain and use it. And I can say that from experience, because every time I mention a book or I talk about an experience that I had, because I'm old, people automatically assume that I think I know everything. I don't. But if that's your perception, that's on you. So they both have always been kind of controversial in their own way, but they had remained friends for a very long time. Now, at this point, I'm going to explain to you in the order that I watched the story. Okay, a couple of days ago, I saw a tweet from Rich Lux saying that he had blocked Peter or something to that effect because he was a snake, and no longer have that the app on. So I'm trying to find how I do this. Hold on. I'm trying to find him on Twitter so I can show you the tweet. And yes, this is going to be very low tech situation, just like everything else, because I'm just not. I'm just not. All right, now let's start with this. Hold on. Where is it? Okay, it's this one that's right here, and I'm going to read it. I blocked Peter Monn because I found out he was being a snake, so he can F off. Don't call or text me either. I'll tell you the same thing, fake snake. You can F off. Block your number too. Now, let's be realistic and let's remember that Peter Monn was very adamant about the fact that he didn't want to be on Twitter anymore, so he wasn't on Twitter. He didn't see this. The next thing I know, one of the comments that was on this video, let me see if he still has the comments. Uh, the first comment was, "What happened, sweetie?" And he answered, "Making a video with all my receipts." That's on April 20th. The video came out, I think it was yesterday or today. So yeah, it took him it took him a minute to make the video. Now, some of the comments that I saw here, and obviously these are Rich's fans. One of them was very interesting to me because the person said, "I love Peter so much, was devastated when he had his accident, but he got so vicious with Christy because she didn't say publicly what he wanted to say or had a different opinion. I had to stop watching him." Clearly, we didn't watch the same video because several times Peter said he didn't necessarily want her to, but if you're going to call somebody and make them waste their time and then you're not going to take their advice, even if you don't say exactly what he said to say, it's kind of it is going to upset you. And the fact that this person is not willing to admit that even if that happened to them they wouldn't be upset, liar. You're a lying liar. Because here's the thing, I don't care who you are and I don't care what you do. But if you waste my time and I spend an hour talking to you and I give you my best advice possible about a situation, and by the way, his advice was pretty good about her situation, and you go ahead and do nothing, do I care one way or the other? No, because it doesn't affect me. But is it gonna bother me at some level that you wasted my time, that I feel like I wasted my time? Absolutely. Any person would feel that way. So I don't know why this person said that. But then, hold on. Where is it? Never trust a Peter. He has been and will always be a creep. He's the same age as my grandfather and is hunting for twinks. I'm glad you spoke up. I don't know what planet Peter Monn is chasing twinks because he's married to a 40-something-year-old man. And I don't know. I guess I could be a grandmother at 58, but I know that Peter at 52 would be a grandfather if he could. But even if he didn't, and let me be very clear about something. The fact that somebody likes people that are younger doesn't make them necessarily a creep. That person obviously is either John Cookin pretending to be somebody else or somebody that believes John Cookin. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Bottom line is that he made that statement, let everybody go off in the comments. There's only 40 comments there. Now, if you, well, no, I'm not going to get to that yet. So anyway, I went and saw that Peter had posted a video that said goodbye something, and I didn't see what it said because I was looking at it from my phone, and yes, I'm blind. So I put it up, and it turns out it was goodbye Rich. And on that video, there's several things that, and by the way, I'm going to say the things that bother me and that I liked on both videos. There were a couple of things that I heard, and there's a lot more than what I'm about to say because I'm sure I'm going to forget some of them. But there was this one thing that Peter said that really got to me, and it was the fact that when Petty Page decided to make that video about Peter Monn, she mentioned, I guess, this is such a long time ago that I don't remember. I know I saw the video, but there's things that I don't remember. And one of the things that she apparently mentioned was that Rich and Peter were not friends. And Peter asked Rich to say something, and Rich's answer was that he didn't want to say anything because then she would make a video against him. Now, we have to remember that at that point, Rich was still friends with Paige. Why would it bother you that a friend of yours made a video about you? Or what did you suspect that she had on you that she was going to make a video on you? It's just weird. By the way, if that would have been me, I would have stopped being his friend right there. Period. Because it takes you all of 5 minutes to say we are still friends on a tweet. But he was going to protect himself. And by the way, you have every right to protect yourself. But that doesn't mean I have to stay friends with you. It is what it is. So then Peter talked about the fact that he felt that they were friends, but that apparently Rich, and by the way, at this point, I haven't seen Rich's video. Rich felt like he wasn't as good a friend and that he was a narcissist. Now, I disagree with Peter on that one because I don't think, yes, I know that was the insinuation, but he didn't come out right and said it like that, okay? He basically was talking about how he had dealt with a narcissist person and that because of what he had worked on himself to deal with the narcissist person, he felt that at times Peter was also a narcissist. And this is where I'm going to call out both of them. Because here's the thing. If you actually sit down and think about it, everybody is a narcissist at some point. There will be times when you put yourself first. Which is kind of funny because if you're working on yourself and doing shadow work, and I realize I'm telling you something about Rich's video while I'm saying this. If you've worked on yourself and done the shadow work, you are very well aware that at some point you are going to be a narcissist because people automatically assume that putting yourself first is being a narcissist. Number two, one of the things that Peter mentions is that he has anxiety and that he wouldn't travel to meet with Rich because Rich mentioned this on the video, which I'm aware that he did, and that was taken out of context or whatever. And Peter has every right to have anxiety. He just doesn't. He isn't working on yourself, putting yourself first. Correct. That's what I'm saying. That is kind of, and let's be clear. We all know that when you work on yourself, people are going to call you a narcissist. So, but even if you are not being a narcissist, and this is why I have such a big problem with people taking psychological terminology or medical terminology and using it in everyday life. We have lost the power of the words by using them for everything. If any person in this planet decides to put themselves first, oh, they're a narcissist. No, they're not. They're putting themselves first. There's a big difference. A narcissist makes everything about them. If you love them, it's about them. If you hate them, it's about them. If you walk down the street to go to the supermarket, it's somehow about them. You know, like the people that think that every time you're saying something, they think it's about them kind of thing. I'm going to give you an example about the drama community back all in the old days. There was a moment in time when Dustin Daly and Sam from Here for the Tea were really good friends. And apparently they had some sort of falling out, one of many. And Dustin made a quote on Twitter, a famous, posted a very famous quote. Well, I don't know what's going on because I don't care about the lives of all these people. It's none of my business, to be honest with you. And so I went ahead and I liked the quote. Well, Sam might not have known who I was from Hole in the Wall or from anybody else, but Sam, I assume, went ahead and blocked every single person that liked that tweet. And then I went on a live and I said, it's really funny that she blocked me because I didn't realize at that moment in time, I didn't even know what a subtweet was. I learned what it was later and I've gotten really good at it. But I didn't know that he was subtweeting her, to be exact. And so I just liked the quote. And I said it on a live stream. I said, I just like the quote. And I wish people would understand that not everything is about them. I could have said that she was being a narcissist. I didn't. Why? Because I didn't think she was being a narcissist. I thought she was very touchy and that it was hilarious to me that she thought everybody that liked the quote automatically knew what was going on between them. And mind you, I'm very well aware that most of his followers probably knew. But personally, I was just liking the quote, man. Sorry, but it is what it is. Bottom line is this. I heard that the whole thing about the anxiety, and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. There were a lot of things that Peter established on his video that one of the things that kind of got me also was the fact that Rich had said that he never gave him credit for anything, when I am aware that Peter has given him credit for stuff. I also remember the video in question where Peter Monn said in the video, I wish Rich wouldn't make his watermark so big. And by the way, Rich, yes, it was too big. There were certain elements of the video that we couldn't see because your freaking watermark was there. We already knew because he had already given you credit. And that's the part I don't get. I don't have a problem with somebody uses my video. Let me be clear. But if I'm going to put a watermark, or if somebody's going to use a segment of my video, all I want to know is that they gave me credit. I don't care about the watermark. He gave you credit. Now, I'm probably going to remember other things later, or I might watch this later and do it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you one thing. I then went and saw Rich's video. The first thing I'm going to tell Rich, because if I'm calling out one side, I'm going to call out the other. I'm going to call both of them out, actually. Number one, you being the friend that pays for everything is not what we call being a good friend. Posting all your bullshit on social media for everybody to see is not being a good friend. And I realize that this is a matter of generations. Peter and I were not raised on social media generations, so we are not the kind of people that would probably put all our crap on social media, even though we do. But personally, I don't really care about putting my crap on social media. And I really hate it when people call me out instead of talking to me in private, because you could save yourself a lot of annoyance by just coming to me and telling me, I didn't like that you did this, or you did that, or you did the other. The times that I have actually taken my stuff in public is because I'm tired of being the punching bag for some idiotic reason. And it's been 3 different people that have done it. And, and then the last person that tried to do this to me, put my stuff out there, I absolutely ignored it. I decided to ignore it for one reason and one reason only. If you were supposed to be my friend, why are you taking, you know how I feel about taking stuff public. Why are you putting my stuff out there? Why didn't you sit down and talk to me and tell me I felt this, and that? No, you decided to throw it all on social media. And so going back to Rich, He said, I am a great friend to have. When we go out, I pay for everything. That's not being a good friend, Rich. I'm sorry to tell you. Number two, you have every right to protect your space however you see fit. If you think that the fact that Peter has a different wavelength when it comes to creating content than you do right now, and you can't wait to get on camera and say things and Peter has other priorities, two things that you have to remember. Peter had an accident recently, and I know that you don't want that to be brought up to you, but the reality is that the accident does change the way he sees the world. I don't know if you all remember this, but before the accident, Peter Monn posted a video every day on the main channel, on the Peter Monn channel. When Peter Monn did not post a video, everybody was shocked. This is why we all found out about the accident, because he disappeared. After the accident, I don't know if you've noticed that rarely does Peter post a video on the Peter Monn channel on weekends. He will post on his vlog, and he will post on the TV channel all the time. But the Peter Monn channel, the one that is the drama channel, he rarely posts on it on weekends. I've clocked it because I'm off on weekends and there's no video. Now, I understand that Rich has every right to protect his energy however he sees fit. The Parallel thinks this song is about you. Yep, correct. I understand, because there's a moment on Rich's video that he says, the energy is different and I can't wait to make videos, and I love making videos and I love talking about these people, and Peter just doesn't want to do that anymore. That's not his height, and that's okay. If you feel, and here's where you see where a friendship could have had it could have ended amicably. Let's put it that way. If you would have told Peter, because by the way, you should have told Peter first, not block him, not taunt him with a message on Twitter. You should have just said, listen, Peter, after all these years of friendship, I feel like I've invested a certain amount of energy in this relationship and I don't feel reciprocated. But more importantly, I have a particular mindset right now, which is go, 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 get your money, get your bag. And you are on a completely different wavelength. And I just don't see us matching energies anymore. And for the time being, at least, I really just think we should go our separate ways, keep it cordial, but, not be as friends as we used to be. That's not what happened, is it? And by the way, I'm very aware that neither one of these men is going to watch this video, but I'm still going to say it because somebody somewhere in the people that watch this video are going to have a situation that is exactly the same situation that these two people are going through. And the sad thing about it is that they have made it about things that one of the things that Peter brought up and Rich confirmed is that this had a lot to do with the whole Michaela video that Peter Monn did. Now, I think it's really funny that Rich is upset that Peter was so focused on the addiction component that didn't see any other perspective. Why would I want another perspective? The whole point of Peter having his perspective is that he's seeing it through his lens, just like you're seeing it through yours. No, he focused on the addiction and he gave her some grace. Wow, big whoop-de-doo. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, but do y'all remember a booty guru called Kathleen Lights? Because I remember her. And you know why I remember her? Because Rich hated her. My God, he couldn't go a video. Every time she would pop up, which was very light, he would have something bad to say about her, and he would admit that he didn't like her. And that's fine. You don't have to like everybody. That's not why I'm bringing this up. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that Even though he didn't like her, the videos were so funny that I watched them, which, by the way, made me go and watch her. I was not hate watching her because I didn't hate her. I just couldn't figure out why these two people didn't like each other. I never could. Sometimes people just grow apart. People change. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Absolutely. And this could have ended very amicably. But the straw that broke the camel's back in this situation was the Michaela video. And the fact that Rich could not get over the fact that Peter saw this with one lens and didn't see other perspectives. And here's my question to Rich. There were a lot of people who had the other perspective. Why does everybody have to have the same perspective? This is one of the biggest complaints that the original drama community had. You would watch Rick, you would watch Nick, you would watch Dustin, you would watch Peter, you would watch Paige, and there were other people. They all had the same opinion about pretty much everything. Then why am I going to watch everybody's video if they're all going to say the same thing? It even got to the point where I can't tell you if it was lazy editing or what it was, but they all had the same stupid clip about the same video about the same person. I'm not interested in seeing everybody saying the same thing. I actually prefer it if, for example, in this situation, you had your perspective as someone that doesn't drink and doesn't use drugs, and Peter, as someone who's not only lived through addiction but studied addiction, gave his perspective. I don't have a bone in that fight because I don't like Michaela. I don't hate Michaela. I think it's really interesting how people tend to see things in situations, and you have to wonder up to a point, are you projecting or are you just incapable of seeing any good in a person because you don't like them? Because in the case of Michaela, for what I understand, and keep in mind I don't watch Rich, the only drama videos that I watch are Peter's. I stopped watching drama videos pretty much, and even Peter's videos, if they're about certain people, I don't even watch those because I really don't care. But for what I understand, Rich doesn't like Michaela, but he's very knowledgeable about that particular topic, and he makes him a lot of money. So why would I want everybody hating on Michaela when I can have somebody hating on Michaela and somebody showing grace, and I can watch both videos and make my own opinion? That's something that I will never understand. Y'all cannot have it. You all cannot have it can't be that way. It's really funny that Rich accused Peter of telling him what to do when in essence he's proving that the one that was asking for things to be done a certain way were Rich. And that's not me saying that, he's wrong or he's right. What I'm saying is that the whole situation is wrong and it's not Peter's fault. And I don't think the saddest part about this whole thing is that I think this is a communication problem between two friends. And unfortunately, it might solve itself out in a few years, but it might not. You have two content creators that are very different. And they remain friends for a reason. And one of the things that bother me, there's two things that bother me about Rich's video. Number one, I don't like when people use the fact that they're POC when it's convenient for them. Yes, I'm very much aware that Rich is Latino, and specifically he has Puerto Rican blood in him. Okay? I love that about him. But when he brought it up in the video, it bothered me. Not because I don't believe that it's true what he's saying, because I do believe it is true. It is very hard for people like him and Paige to make it in the drama community because the drama community is very white, much like the beauty community was very white. But it did bother me, not what he said, the way he said it, because it felt like he was looking for an excuse to be whoever he wants to be. And the other thing that bothered me was, well, before I do that, I have no idea what happened with Michaela. Michaela is problematic, but apparently her husband is on rehab because her husband is a recovering addict, and she made a video where she had been hinting something was off for a while. She made a video of "Get Ready with Me," basically, which she was using her new skin line and whatnot to prep her skin before she wore makeup, but she wore makeup of other people. And I don't know if you remember old school drama, old school beauty people that would be telling you a story of what happened in their day and while putting on makeup. And Peter thought that was like the way they're therapeutic for them in a way, and Rich just thought it was a selling proposition. And they might both be right and they might both be wrong, and who cares? The people that automatically assume that she's just trying to sell you something, one or two things. That's because that's how you would do it. Or number two, you don't trust her because she's not a reliable person when it comes to products. Either way, it doesn't matter. There's a reality that somebody went to rehab and that she's having an issue that she has to address. And here's the thing about Hi Starbell. Here's the problem that I see with this whole situation. If Michaela would have spoken, it's bad, clearly. And if Michaela doesn't talk about it, it's bad. So she had no way of winning that one. Going back to the situation between Peter and Rich. I personally believe that we want different points of view. And I don't understand why Rich is so obsessed with Peter agreeing with him that it was a cash grab. Probably because Rich is friends with Jeffrey and Shane, and Peter has mentioned on many occasions that that collaboration was a cash grab. Which, by the way, it's another thing. It's an argument between Rich and Peter that is going on. 2-second version. Rich very publicly decided to end the friendship with Peter, and he made a video where he said some things about Peter, and then Peter went and defended himself. And the third part of that act is that Rich made a video reacting to Peter's video, which I didn't see that one. Because the bottom line is this. Rich mentioned several times on his video that he was working on himself, that he was doing the shadow work, that he was working on himself and all this other stuff. And that is more than likely true. But if you're working on yourself, maybe, I don't know if it's a millennial thing or if it's just the people on social media that they have to have everything happen on social media. Because I don't know if you guys remember that he had a video with Martin Lewis where he hashed out that beef on screen because neither one of them wanted to do it in private, which I think is the stupidest thing, but that's another story for another day. Bottom line is this. Putting it all in public was not the right move, in my opinion. I personally think that this was just a matter of two people that have grown apart and are blaming the end of the friendship on things that have nothing to do with them, as a way of, specifically Rich, because poor Peter just got hit with the whole thing happened. So it is what it is. In my opinion, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about that, is it's sad because to me that was like the last little bit of the drama, of the booty drama community of old. I don't watch any of the other content creators anymore. I don't follow anybody. Many of them have totally left social media. So there's a lot of people that are gone. There's a lot of people that are no longer doing any content that is of any interest to me. So it's one of those things. And the few that are still talking about beauty drama, I don't care about. I like Peter. I don't know what to make of Rich, to be honest with you, because he talked a lot about doing self-work, but at the same time, he kept bringing up material things. And what I mean by that is, when he made the comment about Peter not being as enthusiastic about filming anymore, He mentioned the fact that he liked to do this, that, and the other, and everything was something where money is involved. Traveling, creating videos, music videos, shopping, blah blah blah. Again, he mentioned again the fact that when he went out with his friends, he paid for everything, and that's the part that is getting me stuck. If you're doing the shadow work that you're claiming to be doing, you would have realized by now that buying friendships is not the way to go. Getting upset at your friends because they don't do what you want them to do is not the way to go. He mentions, and Peter mentioned this too, that he invited Peter to come to film a video with him. And he keeps saying, you know how many people would love to be in one of my videos? Yeah, I'm sure they are, but there's a lot of people that don't want to be in your videos either because you have a reputation, whether it's true or not. He also mentioned a lot that, people think I'm bad and they don't know what got me there. And I understand that logic, okay? I absolutely understand that logic. And again, I say what I said in the beginning. If he needs to protect his energy, he needs to do what he needs to do. I'm not arguing that point. What I'm arguing is the way it was done. That was not the best. Period. You can argue with me all you want, but at the end of the day, I don't think friendships should be open and ended on freaking social media. I mean, you can become friends on social media and then meet in real life or talk or chat or whatever, but I just don't think that ending the friendship on social media and making a video where you expose what you think is the problem, for one thing, that never works the way you think, because half of the people, like I always said, there's three groups of people in the world: people that love you no matter what you say, people who hate you no matter what you say, and the people in the middle. The people in the middle don't want to be in the middle between the two of you because they like both of you. And that is all I'm going to say about this. I am going to stop because I need to eat something and go to sleep. I have to work tomorrow. So I cannot wait to see what you guys have to say in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful night. I have more to say.